Welcome to another episode of Talking with Nana. And today we have JC Allenbrand, one of the founding members of Central States Paranormal. As usual, top-notch sets at Nana Preps. Nothing but the best. How are you, JC? I haven't seen you in forever.
Just, staying away from the COVID.
Oh, I know, right? It keeps wanting to rear its ugly ding head, too. Yeah. Have you lost any work because of it?
No.
That's good. That's good. So what's new? I know nobody's been really doing any research for the past year, and I don't know really of any group that's done much research. All the paper.
Most I've really done is just read some articles, and look for videos anybody might have caught. I haven't seen anything too great.
Well, I know the rest of the team was going to be here today, but due to a series of unfortunate events, for some anyway, I almost wasn't here. I woke up this morning and had a ton of work. I had to go into work this morning. In fact, I had just got home maybe 15 minutes ago, so trying to get our shit together. So you were telling me a little bit ago, and I know this, we usually, and I'm part of this group and have been part of this group from nearly the beginning. But we normally just do ghosts. But you were actually telling me about a Bigfoot experience that you had some years ago. Why don't you tell us about that?
Hold on just a second. I think somebody's...
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, I don't think they're coming over here. Yeah.
Well, if they do, what the heck?
Yeah. Well, we were, I was in probably 7th grade, and me and one of my friends were walking. We have a creek that runs through our town, and we were walking from one end of it, kind of following it through people's property, well, mostly outside of people's property. We did go across some guy's farm, but, and we followed it basically from one side of town where it started to the other side of town where it seems to stop. And we were somewhere along the middle, and it was over across the creek from us. And like I said, I have always needed glasses, but I didn't have any when I was younger. And
right.
We could hear, we were walking through, talking and goofing around, and we could hear, it sounded like a big rock was getting beat, like on a log or a fallen tree or something. And when we got close to enough to where we could kind of see where it was coming from, my friend said it looked to him like it was a Bigfoot. Now, I could not see anything other than there was something kind of big and hairy over there. Not even exactly for sure what size it was, other than it was kind of big.
Could you tell how big?
Yeah. Now, it was kind of big. Bigger than any animal I know of around here, but I mean, I don't claim that I actually saw a Bigfoot, but he said it was, and he freaked out. But I don't know. I couldn't tell.
Now, was this like across the creek from you?
Yeah, it was probably maybe close to somewhere between 50 and 100 yards.
Oh, okay, so quite a ways.
Yeah, a little ways away.
Yeah. Is that the only experience you've ever had?
With that, yeah.
Isn't it? Well, I know
how good of an experience that was.
Well, I don't know. That's a pretty good experience, I think. I really do. Were you scared?
No, I couldn't tell what it was. And it was across the creek. I was more scared one time. We had a bull that chased us up a hill, and he almost caught us. But it was pretty steep, and he couldn't get up to the top of it. And that was a lot more scary.
That's definitely scary.
Yeah,
definitely scary.
And he got his 2 front hooves up on the top. It was like it kind of came straight down at the top, and we were able to climb up, and the bull couldn't get up. But if he went 10 feet to the other side, he could have came around and got us.
Dang. Yeah, I've managed to not have that experience. I've been smart enough to not put myself in that position.
Smart's probably the best way to put it.
Well, Alex is another member on this team, Central States Paranormal, and he was texting with us earlier. Well, just the other day, I think it was yesterday. He does a lot of, I don't know what he clears land. I think for people is what he does.
Exactly. I know he uses a bobcat a lot, but that's about
yeah.
as much as I tell you.
And he's always showing before and after stuff, and I mean, he really will clear your land for you. If I knew the name of his business, I'd say it, but I don't. But he thinks he was having some Bigfoot activity on one of the job sites he's working on. In fact, and JC, if you would get on our Facebook Messenger page.
I don't get on Facebook very much anymore, just because.
You don't have to get on Facebook. It's just the Messenger.
Oh, well, I don't use it on my phone because I see everybody spend so much time on it, so I don't even put it on my phone, so I don't sit there staring at it.
And you don't even have to have Facebook on your phone, just the mess. My son doesn't have a Facebook, but he is on the Messenger because I made him. Anyway, he had posted some really wild pictures. He was clear, and actually it looked like the area that he was in was pretty blank. I mean, it was pretty flat, except for this island, for lack of a better word, of growth. I don't think it's a pile of brush. I think it's just an island that hasn't been cleared yet. And he had thought he had saw some movement in there, but it could have been deer, it could have been anything. His truck was parked quite a ways away, but when he got back to his truck, in his handle, the door handle of the truck, outside door handle, there were twigs positioned in the hole. Now, you know how the wind has been the last few days. The wind should have even blown this stuff out. And trust me, I have racked my brain trying to debunk, and it is plausibly debunked, but man, the wind, if the wind blew those sticks and they just happened to get positioned in that
Doc.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't have stayed. The wind would have blown them right through or back out.
Yeah.
I mean,
they couldn't have been in there when he got in the truck because he would have had to open the door with the handle.
Exactly. They definitely weren't in there. When he shut the door when he got out, they probably would have fell through.
Yeah.
But if you get on that, I do encourage you, see those pictures. If my computer had a bigger brain, I would show you the pictures on here. But if I did that, nothing would work.
Was it just a couple of them? Was it like a little bundle?
It was like, and they actually weren't even sticks. It was more like grass stems. And it was like two of them. In fact, I can text them to you. I'll just text them to you.
All right.
But they were really precarious. And like I said, it was windy. I thought about, did the wind blow? Could the wind have blown them? And they just happened to end up where they ended up.
Right back out if it had.
Yeah, here they are. Let me see if I can.
I probably should talk to him more, considering I live closer to him than either one of you two.
Yeah, I know you do. I'll probably have to. Let me see. Share. Here we go. Perfect. I'm just going to send you one picture. I think that's plenty. There's about 3 or 4 pictures, but yeah, here that comes. I don't know if you can look at it while you're on the phone here, but anyway, it was just pretty crazy. Saying hi to a couple of people on here. I don't know if you can see the chat either. But okay, so geez, I can't even remember when Central States Paranormal went into it.
Now that does look like somebody set them in there, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
Yeah, they're awful long. There's no way the wind blew that in there. That looks like they might be over a foot long.
I know. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Yeah, somebody put those there.
Or something.
I can't think of a good explanation for that other than somebody.
Exactly. I really wish I could show the viewers what we're looking at, but anyway, yeah, I've sat and racked my brain about that, and like I said, I mean, I suppose the possibility is always there due to how much wind and everything that could have happened naturally. I just don't feel like it did.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is if he drove through anything tall, maybe something got caught in there. But I mean,
But he would have seen it when he got it. Yeah.
really would be. So I'm
Yeah.
surprised they would stick around.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. So anyway, yeah, that's what and like I said, I read a few articles this past week about some Bigfoot sightings down by Tommy. Tommy B, who is usually on with me on Sundays, but he is heading down to the Ozarks today. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, good
He
for him.
chose the Ozarks over us.
We'll probably hear about more Bigfoot sightings if he's going down there.
I know. As long as he keeps his shirt on, we're okay.
Yeah.
I think I said that to him last week or Wednesday or whatever it was. That exact comment. But yeah, so anyway, it's spring. It is spring. So the Bigfoot are migrating. That is my theory.
Yeah, I am not a big I mean, I watch the Bigfoot shows on TV sometimes. Some of it's a little silly, some of it's a little interesting. I'm not terribly into Bigfoot, but I have seen a couple of videos, and other than that old black and white one,
Right.
I've seen a couple of them that looked. I mean, if they're because I'm pretty familiar with CGI and stuff, and if they were edited, I can't tell it. I can't think right now what videos they are. I'd show you. I didn't really, like I said, I'm not.
There's so many. I probably have seen them. There's so many.
There are a couple.
That Patterson Gimli film was not CGI.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the 70s.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. There's a couple more about that quality out there. You just kind of have to dig for them.
Yeah. Well, here's been my thing with Bigfoot. I have researched the paranormal regarding spirits, ghosts, for a few decades. And I kind of proved to myself that exists. I mean, I don't question it anymore. I mean, I've proven it to myself. I've seen enough proof.
There's definitely something to it. What exactly what it is, I don't know, but it is there.
And I am not going to be the one to win that Nobel Prize because I don't have the science. I don't have the lab. I don't have the money. Yeah. I don't have the things that it's going to take. But see, and really, I don't know if you've seen anything done by, who was it? This CIA recently. They're all but proving it themselves. They released some documents. Yeah, they released some documents not long ago that proved alternate dimensions, proved what is it? Out of body, where you can remote viewing, proved that. And all this stuff is old, so it's like it's been this way for what I think the 70s and 80s, but they just now.
Have you heard about the DMT thing where people are taking these high doses of DMT and say they're getting put out of their bodies and into a different dimension? And they say it feels more real than our current reality, and they meet there's little entities there, and they're calling them clockwork elves. And I guess a lot of people have the same experience where they get transported into this place, and they interact with these little. Then they all see these same little creatures, and they all can communicate with them.
I think I have heard of that.
Yeah, Joe Rogan talked about it, and it's really interesting. It's illegal.
Did they describe the creatures?
Well, they vary a little bit. There are they call them clockwork elves. I don't think that they necessarily look like little elves, but they're like geometric, intelligent things, different shapes. There's some people say they look like bouncing or vibrating jeweled basketballs, and I guess they jump in and out of your body and tell you not to be distracted by what's going on, to pay attention to what they're doing, and just weird things like that.
Wow. That is weird. I
And
mean,
I guess the whole thing lasts for about 15 minutes, and as soon as it's over, you're right back to normal, and you're just like, "What the heck was that?"
well, I mean, I'm on TikTok a lot. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the viewers is talking about it. She's heard of it too. I'm on TikTok a lot, and there are a lot of TikTokers out there that talk about out of body, astral travel, things of that nature. And that we are, and this is kind of all this interconnecting circles where there's just a few missing parts for me as far as that goes. But it all falls down to, I don't know if you're aware of what's happening on our earth right now with the Schumann resonance and our pole shifting and our sun and lightning and all of these things.
Yeah. I've been telling Tom for, man, it might be 10 years now, because I watched the Ring of Fire, and it's just amazing how many earthquakes and volcanoes are going off all the time over the last 10 years or so. And it's always getting more and more. It's not slowing down.
Yeah. And this year in particular, and I would say this has been going on for about 6 months, the Schumann resonance has been off the charts. And NOAA, I think it is, it's either NOAA or the what is it, NGS or whatever, they are seeing signs that the Schumann resonance has an exact correlation with earthquake activity. And then, of course, lightning and the Schumann resonance are already connected. They are directly connected. But all this boils down to our geomagnetic field. Now, my point is, you and I know as paranormal researchers with ghosts, what an important part electromagnetivity plays in that research.
Yeah, I've always, I wish I had money for it. I would really like to experiment with the electromagnetic fields and stuff, because it comes up time and time again. Like the lightning that discharges during earthquakes is supposed to be related to the static and the electromagnetivity.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to the electromagnetism involves like the frequency of the human, like, physical form. You can affect that, which is supposed to affect like dimensional travel and alternate reality and out of body experiences, and it can adjust your frequency. I don't know, and I also, and this is just me, but I feel like if you had good equipment, you could probably experiment creating some kind of a portal with an electromagnetic field. I think that you could probably do that.
I kind of think they already have.
Yeah.
I kind of really do.
Yeah.
I think we'll learn about that 20 years from now.
Yeah, probably.
When we already know it. But you're exactly right. I mean, and this is why all these guys on TikTok and Facebook, and they're everywhere. They're all over all social medias. The light workers, the spirit workers, whatever you want to call them. They've been talking about this shit for a minute. And now I always keep track of what our Earth is doing earthquake-wise, and I keep track of our space weather, and have done videos on that for a couple of years now. But since I've joined TikTok and I see this whole other thing with the light workers talking about this whole, how we're moving into this new age and how we're this awakening, so to speak, I can't help but see the correlations.
Well, yeah, and it's they of course everybody knows they predicted that for thousands of years that at some point around our time right now, and it's called the apocalypse or whatever. But apocalypse, I guess, literally translates to awakening and not some big disaster.
You are exactly right. Yeah.
And so I mean, the transition from into the house of Aquarius and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. It's all about an awakening. I think it's more of a collective conscience awakening than anything else. Because I mean, everybody's getting involved with each other right now, and it's unfortunately it's over politics, but it is like a really huge personal interaction for way more people than usual.
Do you think, and okay, first off, I think it's really crazy that we are more so involved with each other now at a time when we are so separated.
Yeah, because it's I mean a lot of it's done online. It's not in person, but it is a personal interaction.
I
You know?
think that the lockdowns also caused people to sit still for a minute,
Yeah,
which is a good thing and a bad thing.
yeah.
Depend. But
Well,
do you think?
a lot of good came out of it because people can sit and think and look around and decide for themselves about questions they don't normally probably think of.
Yeah.
There's a lot more time to look at the world right now.
Well, and I didn't realize until after joining the platform of TikTok how closed Facebook was. I thought it was open and I was seeing what was happening in the world. And in fact, I was not.
Yeah, it's like being in a shoebox with things you
It
hate.
is. Yeah.
That's why I was saying I don't go on Facebook much anymore because I
Yeah.
noticed when you go on Facebook and Twitter and all of these things, really, I mean, you end up seeing things that just upset you and you want to argue. And I started kind of thinking of social media as kind of a hate machine. And
Yeah.
I said, everybody complained at first. It's like, oh, every time I go on Facebook, all it is, all these moms talking about cookie recipes and dogs, and I start talking about other stuff. Well, I wish we could go back to cookie recipes and dogs now because I'm
Right.
sick of all the other crap. I
I
was a lot
just go on
happier.
there and view my positive TikTok videos. That's all I do. Here,
Yeah.
choke on this. I don't even care. And then I go on. I just stay away from
Yeah.
all of it. But
Yeah. But that's
what
why I
found with,
stay off of it.
what I found with TikTok, and I didn't join TikTok until last June. And it was right at the beginning of this whole everybody's getting locked down. Things had just started in March. I had done some YouTube videos talking about what I felt like was coming. And I was right, all but we did not reach full federal martial law.
Yeah.
Did
I
not
don't
go
know.
that
I mean,
far.
we're like half a step away.
We were dang close, but we
Yeah.
didn't reach it. But everything else I said happened.
Yeah.
Totally happened.
And that still could happen. I mean, they
Oh,
still have
absolutely.
thousands of people in fenced-in Washington D.C. for no good reason.
And and this leads me back to what we were talking about just a minute ago with these people that are just batshit crazy. Over what exactly? And this is what you have to look at. The people that stormed the Capitol, for instance, that was a major play.
Well, it seems like when I look at it, and I've watched a lot of videos on this, and just to be totally upfront, I am I used to consider myself more of a libertarian, but I realize
Okay.
that I'm just to the right of center. I like a little bit of conservatism, but I agree with a lot of things from all over the place. And no, I
You're
don't really
independent.
fit in. Yeah, I don't really fit into anything exactly, but I watch all these videos and stuff of these incidents, and watching that one. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of people, and a lot of people ended up going into the Capitol, but it seemed to me that there was only a little bit of a smaller group that was being violent and causing the problems. And
Absolutely.
once they got into the Capitol, the ones there's like a bunch of people just wandered in after them and nobody stopped them. I don't think that they knew necessarily they were doing anything wrong. They're just like, oh, I guess we can go in, and they followed in like a herd of zombies and stood around in the atrium gawking at each other, and now they're getting arrested.
Yeah. It was just and that's what I'm saying. there seems to be this handful, just in every, every protest that you watch,
Yeah.
that one in particular, the BLMs, the whatever's, all the different protests.
I think it started about 2015 around Berkeley and everything. I think there's a lot of paid agitators, and exactly who's paying them, I don't know, but I think that it's all
Absolutely.
It's all done to stir people up and get people involved, and then fade into the background and let it go.
Yeah. See who else they can get to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the more people they can get to go batshit, the more so they can walk out of the situation scot-free.
Yeah. And then we get great things like regulations and new laws, and
and we lose another right.
And that's one thing I don't think people think of too much. When every new law that comes up and they pass, it creates a new class of criminal that didn't exist before.
That's exactly right.
And it's not right to do that to people. And I don't agree with new laws just because you want to have an emotional response, and then we got to do something. Well, then now we got people going to jail because you want to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you should just confront that behavior or those individuals and find out what the problem is and solve the
Take
problem.
Responsibility as a society.
Yeah. I think my personal opinion, and I don't know about completely abolishing prisons, but I feel like holding people in those places is antiquated. I mean, the freaking Roman Empire, they're doing it before the Roman Empire, and it's the same thing. They just called it slaves then. They don't call it slaves now. But, they take you for committing crimes, they put you in a pen, and they let you out for what, not necessarily recreation, I guess, to fight in the Coliseum, but,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. They need to take corporate out of the prisons. That's for sure.
Yeah, I never agreed with that because they trade prisoners back and forth, and they get bigger checks from the government for doing it because when they file their stuff, hey, we're over capacity. And then they get more money, and then they transfer prisoners to the next one, and they're like, hey, we're over capacity. And they get big checks. And I've seen it over and over. And all it is just a way for people to get money off of holding people in cells.
And that's the whole, I could go on forever about that's the whole problem with this whole country and what it's based on at this point. It's all based on money, corporations. That's why our healthcare sucks.
Yeah.
That's why our prison system sucks. Because
I do think that people should be able to get, while we have technology and professionals and everything available, people should be able to get treated for whatever's wrong with them. But I don't think it's a right. I don't think it should be free. I think that they should see you, and then you can deal with, paying them back afterwards. I don't think they should be able to deny people.
Well, and some hospitals are like that.
Yeah.
They have a sign that says, doesn't matter about your ability to pay, we'll still see you. But the problem is the level of health care that you receive in most places, the best way I can say it is to be desired.
Yeah. I've received some of that. I broke my ankle one time, and all they gave me was a Velcro splint and told me good luck.
Yeah. I actually have quit going. I don't go. I treat myself holistically. My choice. I'm not advising anyone to do what I do. I just did. I mean, when I'm sitting there giving myself a $3,000 injection and nothing is still working, why am I doing it?
Yeah. Because it makes somebody some money.
Yeah.
It's just like and I really didn't want to talk about too much about politics or anything. But
we won't.
This reminds me of the way that the pharmaceutical companies have been involved with the coronavirus thing, because they wanted to make these viruses, and a lot of companies were already making them, and the people don't know that. They were already making these vaccines. And that's how they pushed them out so fast. They already had most of the research done.
Yep, you're right.
And for them, and there's other countries that had treated it with the hydroxychloroquine, and it was successful, and they knew it, and it was published, and it was out there. People knew it, and whenever Trump talked about it, they immediately shut it down because it didn't fit what they wanted. Yeah. And it's a shame because I mean, they've shown that it does save people's lives. They should have at least said, "Hey, maybe there are side effects. Maybe there could be something wrong. Maybe you're a person that's sensitive to it. Maybe you should look into it before you try it." But people have had effects, and it could have saved a lot of people. I really believe that it could have helped people because, I mean, even if you take it as a preventative, you might not get sick at all.
Right. Okay, so let's move into conspiracies regarding what you're talking about. What's your feeling on the idea that this is the, what do they say, 200 years? It happens every 200-year population control.
Yeah, so
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? What
the
do you
idea
think of that?
that there's probably something's going to happen to probably start a world war, so we can bring populations down in big countries.
Oh, well, yeah. I think that's going to happen just because everybody's stupid.
Yeah.
But as far as
the event, I was reading something.
The plagues, and they kill everybody off, but not everybody. And then they go in and they cure it before everybody gets killed off. And now we've weeded our garden.
Yeah, well, because I've looked at the death numbers, and our numbers aren't out of whack for the last 10 years. We haven't had a significant increase.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like if you go look at the death tolls for the last few years, I mean, every year it goes up a little bit, but I mean, really, as far up as we went up last year, it's kind of in line with the other years.
Yeah. Well, Bill Gates disagrees.
Yeah, well, Bill Gates stood on stage and told everybody he wanted to wipe out population with vaccines, and then he goes and he's like, "I'm going to fund the COVID vaccine." It's like, no, not you. No thanks.
Yeah. I've really lost a lot of respect for him. I really have.
Well, if it wasn't for those speeches we gave about eugenics and wiping out the population, and then everybody just acts like, "Oh, that's Bill Gates. He's great." No, he's not. He's not great.
I know. That is so true. I don't know. It's something to think about. I can see, I tell you what, the books I've read, the research I've done over the years, an idea like that is not all that far-fetched.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
And well, one of the scarier parts of, like you're talking about the 200-year thing, is that let's say that because apparently it's controversial to say that the virus came from Wuhan, even though we know that's where it came from.
Oh, it is? I didn't know it was controversial to say that. Can we be like Trump and just call it the China virus?
Yeah, we'll call it the China virus because it came from China. Yeah. Yeah. But basically what happened is it came from Wuhan, but if it was released on purpose or even if it busted out by accident, it doesn't really matter. The fact that it came from China and went around the world and nobody is like, "Hey, China, you need to straighten up. We need to make sure this doesn't happen." And nobody's doing that. Everybody's like, "No, it didn't come from China. You can't say that, it's bad." So China has another accident that actually is something really horrible, like some sort of a leprosy virus or something. He already knows if something gets out, then nobody's going to do anything. Why could it happen again? Why couldn't it be worse? What if it was a test run?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly. And they are just, now, what do you think about the theory that China did this on purpose?
Well, okay, my theory about China doing it on purpose was that China had bought the patent for remdesivir, or however you pronounce it,
right.
They had bought that right before the virus got loose, and it is a cure for COVID. Then China's economy was tanking; they were almost bankrupt, and then so they get the idea for whatever reason to buy the cure for COVID, and then they released COVID, and to me it seemed like they were hoping to get the patent on that and push it as the main source of getting a cure on the rest of the world and charging an arm and a leg for it to save their economy. That's what I think.
We had people, and some of our viewers are bringing that point up. We had people working in that lab.
Yeah, they actually caught. We had a lab Now, I can't remember. I think the lab's actually in Canada, but we had people there too, and they caught Chinese workers and transporting the virus from the Canadian lab to the Wuhan lab a few years ago.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then again, it was probably just because of the election.
I mean, there's also that. I mean, we got the flu. The flu disappeared magically. Pneumonia disappeared magically. I mean, so many things just stopped happening, and all of a
Oh,
sudden,
no.
COVID got up numbers. You know, and
Well, something I say this almost every podcast. I make this comment because until I can figure it out, it's going to befuddle me. I still cannot figure out how people. This virus is so contagious, okay? So freaking contagious, horribly. How people can have spouses that are positive and really sick, and you're taking care of them, but you don't get it.
Tom's wife caught it, and nobody else got sick. I don't think
I
that
know.
really made me think it was probably something else that's normal, and they misdiagnosed. I'm not saying COVID isn't an actual thing. I think that
Right.
it is a virus, and I think people do get it, and I think people do die from it, unfortunately. But I think there's a lot of misdiagnosis going around just because it's happening. I don't know exactly why, but I think a
I
lot
think
of people
there's
are
a direct
misdiagnosed.
correlation with how horrible our healthcare system is. Our labs, I can tell you, just in the criminal justice field, okay, criminal justice area, their labs are so overrun, understaffed. Oh, I mean, I am waiting an unbelievable amount of months for lab results that I should be able to get in a couple weeks tops. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting months. Our civilian laboratories are even worse. They're understaffed, overrun, and I think we're seeing that. I think that's the result of that. You're not
Yeah.
getting accurate stuff. You know, you're always reading articles, at least I am, about how, oh, well, they just came across a whole bunch of lab results that were wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the CDC's updated there saying, what was it? I think, I can't remember if it was 40 something or 60 something percent of the initial COVID tests were giving false positives.
Yeah. And I think it went the other direction too. I think there were false negatives.
Yeah. And what was scary was those, and it's so stupid. Like the first COVID test that we got came from China. And I mean, what better way to get a positive test result than to take a contaminated test?
Well, here is what Amanda, and I'm going to destroy her name, Vaillancourt is her last name, I think. She says 2 people where she's at, 2 people had an appointment to be tested and they never went. 2 days later, they got notified that their test results were positive.
I've heard about that too. I've heard about people that didn't get tested at all, getting calls saying that they tested positive, and then getting told they needed to quarantine, and they're like, and they won't say, you know, when you tell them you didn't get tested, they're just like, well, you're still gonna have to quarantine.
I don't know. It's all. I can't wrap my head around it. I really can't.
It's just ridiculous. It's really. I mean, it is. I'm not saying it's not a problem. I mean, obviously, if it's a new thing that's making people sick and they're dying, it's a problem. But the arbitrary crap that they're coming up with to take care of it doesn't make sense. We've never handled anything like this, you know. And of course, the first thing they do is tell us to put these masks on that they've been wearing in China since the bird flu, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then they're gonna say China didn't influence. You got us walking around looking like China. Now we look the same. Our public, whenever you go out, everybody's got masks on. Everybody's staying away from each other. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what the point of all of it is. Half those masks, when you get a box of them and you read the mask, it says does not protect against virus transmission. And it's like, better wear it. Okay.
Yeah. I know. It's ridiculous. It's all ridiculous. And I cannot help but think that it is just a way to make us comply. In other words, the more you make us comply to whatever, no matter how dumb or useless it is.
Yeah, wear 2 masks. It's twice as good.
It is to then force further ways for us to have to comply until, we're like China. I mean, we see them over there living these fabulous lives and whatever, but they are so restricted with their rights. Canada, for instance, I did not realize that they do not have freedom of speech up there. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, they have a lot of limits on what they can do. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that where we're going?
Seems like it.
Yeah. It just seems like we're going in that direction.
That's the first thing, that's the first thing they kick out from under you, though, is to tell you to shut up and sit down.
Yep. That is right. And that's fine. I'll be glad to. As I store my pounds of food and ammo. And
you're probably set by now. You've been canning stuff for a while.
And storing because my canned food rotates. Because that isn't really long term. But I do have stuff for long term. And they've already we can't buy ammo on the internet anymore. They're Walmart's quitting carrying it. You can't get.
I bought some 22 rounds from Walmart not too long ago.
I think I can get some at Orchlands. Yeah. It's very limited. I can't I've got to jump through 10 hoops to get ammo for my 25.
Yeah.
I really want to get a gun machine.
I don't see how there's such a shortage going on for so long when every ammo company says that they're cranking it out as fast as they can.
It's not a shortage, it's regulations.
Yeah. And I also think that the bureaus are buying it up in bulk.
Could be. And storing it for whatever.
Yeah. Well, I
wouldn't think those type of bullets would be what they'd be buying.
Yeah. Well, when I was in the Army, they have buildings that are just packed full of ammo. So they've got.
Yeah, but not that kind of ammo. Is it? That's really when you think about it, that's small potatoes.
Yeah, well, officers. There's different types of rifles and stuff in the military, and officers carry different kinds of pistols.
But not 22s, do they?
You're not going to go find them with hunting rifles or anything.
That's what I'm saying. They don't store 22s, do they?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would use that. No.
Yeah, or my little 25.
Yeah.
They don't want to bother with that crap.
No.
But that is what you can't get. Well, 22s aren't so hard. You can still get those. But, yeah. I don't know.
I haven't seen any AR-15 rounds for a while.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I wouldn't shop for that. I would ask my boss. He would shop for that. But he builds his own. But I want a bullet machine. I do. Just for my little 410, because that's all I care about.
I used to have an old shotgun loader. It was my grandpa's.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want. But I guess and I forget the piece that makes it blow up. What was it? What the
primer?
What?
The primer?
Primers? Yeah. Those are getting hard to get.
Yeah. Well, that's how they can stop you right there. You just take that and then all of a sudden the bullet don't work. So even if you got bullets, you throw them at somebody, I guess.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah. I know. And then the ones I could find were just outrageously priced. So I don't know. I guess I'm just going to have to fall back on the good old sword.
Yeah.
Get out the old ninja sword. Let's move back to is my computer going to be see? Did I freeze?
Yeah, it was a bad connection there for a second. You're starting to clear up a little bit, I think.
Okay. How long ago, Central States? What?
The connection problem might be on my end. I'm in the basement.
Oh, I think we're good. It'll clear up.
All right.
So you're one of the founding members of Central States Paranormal. Like I said earlier, when I think I came on just after. I think you guys had already been organized before I came on. How long ago did that start?
Well, I really can't remember what year it was. I know it's been more than 10 years. I don't know. We started off, it was just me and Tom wanted to do this. We thought it'd be something to do together, and it seemed interesting. And then I can't remember exactly when he brought Alex in, but Alex fit in nice. He's a nice guy, kind of like him. Um, and then there was a couple of girls I think he knew from a job he used to have.
I remember that. Yeah.
We did something with them a couple times, and then they just kind of disappeared. And we had a friend named Megan that went with us a time or two. And I think you were on. You came in between those times. It wasn't too long. You and Alex were there, but right about the same time, I think.
I think Alex came on right after me. Alex actually came up to the barbecue with whatever girlfriend it was he had at the time.
When we were up there above the barbecue.
Well, but before that, from way before that, the first time I met Alex, him and whatever girlfriend it was he had at the time came to the barbecue to talk to me because they were having some experiences.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they wanted to talk to me about it. And then it was like, yeah, just shortly after that, that barbecue was freaking awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on up there. That was one of the places that we looked at the closest, I think.
Yeah. Well, we had the easiest access.
Yeah.
To it. Yeah. Yeah, that was an awesome. But you and Tom, didn't you guys go down to Fort Scott? And you guys have really done a lot of stuff.
We took, I think Chris and Deb and Megan and Nate. We all went down there.
You got some great EVPs.
Yeah, Tom found some. Like there's one. I'm sure he showed them to your sister. He has that one where you could hear what for all the world, and you have to really listen to hear it, but it's there. But it sounds like horseback Native Americans are chasing after somebody, and they're helping. Yeah, and you can hear them, making the war cries. I almost went like this, which is not now they do war cries and it's stupid and childish, but that's
well, they go. Yeah, they didn't use their hands, but they still. You can actually get on the Central States Paranormal Facebook page, I believe, and hear those. I think he's got those in videos.
And the one that we got with Megan and Nate, it was me, Megan, and Nate in the bakery, and I don't think there's a video of it. I do have the video, but the EVP is not in the video. It's only in the audio. And it was the three of us inside this really small building. It's just this tiny little bakery. It's got a brick oven in the wall with like an iron door, and it was open, and you can see there's ashes underneath the grate, and I imagine you just keep it like that so it looks used. It's a little tourist thing.
Yeah.
And when we were in there, Megan walks over and she looks at the oven and she's like, "Oh, I wonder what the ashes are." Something to that effect. I'm not remembering word for word, but I mean, and then you can watch the video. Nobody's standing by her. You can see Nate. I'm holding the camera, so you can't see me. And Nate, I think, was one holding the audio recorder, and he's not next to, or he's not that close to me. I mean, it's a small room. He's not terribly close to Megan. But right after she said that, you could hear a female voice saying something like, "It's the chickens." She's asking. She's like, "It's the chickens," or "It's dead chickens," or something like that. But you can definitely hear chickens in there, and it's loud. Cool. It's loud. It's almost louder than Megan probably.
Wow! So Class A.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely the best one I've ever heard.
I'm shocked you didn't hear it real time.
Well, no, I didn't. None of us noticed it. It's not on the camera, but it sounds like somebody just was right into the thing. And it's like a whisper, but it's really loud.
Wow.
That one's on the Facebook page. I haven't looked at it. Tom kind of does that. I have a
Yeah,
copy of my phone. I can send it to you if you want it. I have it on my phone. I can send it to you
that's
after the meeting.
crazy. What's the scariest thing or the craziest thing you've ever experienced in an investigation?
Well, for me, it's the ghost boxes. I don't like them, and Alex loves them.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I mean, that's his thing. That's his thing. I don't like him. I think of him kind of like Ouija boards.
yeah,
Anything to me that opens it up like a portal for real time communication,
yeah.
it's bad in my opinion. You shouldn't
Right.
be opening a doorway because doorways go back and forth. They're not one way doorways.
Yeah.
And I don't use Ouija boards. I don't like the ghost boxes. They're cool. Whatever's going on there seems to work.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
mean, he sat there and used it, and he was taught. You can get replies, like you can ask a question, and it'll scan, and you'll hear, and it'll be different voices, but it'll form a sentence that makes sense, and it's
I
not.
don't know if you've ever been on my Facebook page, Shroud Paranormal ITC.
No, I haven't.
I did ITC work for quite a few years using computer applications that are a little bit different than the ghost boxes. I have never really cared for the ghost boxes because of um, the probability of contamination was just too great.
Yeah, and
Now, if
it's almost like an audio matrixing in a way, but it does. I mean, it does make clear sentences, and I don't
yeah,
know what to make of
if
it. But I
you've
don't.
got one that is not hooked up to the radio waves, that is just scanning static,
Well,
I would give that a little bit more. But
I'm kind of now you said that. Now I was talking to I have another friend that does this, and he lives on the East Coast, and he has a friend who came up with this great idea, and I think that he's either making it or he has made it, but I don't know if he's ever tested it. And I have one. I'm thinking about converting, but what he wants to do is take an old TV with aerial antenna because nothing is broadcast on those stations anymore.
right,
There's nothing for those antennas to pick up.
right.
So you take this old TV and you get in there and modify it so it'll pick up different frequencies and maybe a different type of antenna on it and use it the same way that you would like a ghost box and see if I mean wouldn't it be amazing if you could get a picture?
Oh, you can. Uh, we're talking back in the 70s. If you go to the website worlditc.org, um, they had set up it was a loop. It was a TV and a VCR camera. Of course, it wouldn't be a VCR camera now, but you looped them. Okay. Oh yeah, they got clear, amazingly clear pictures of people, places. World ITC, I think it's .org. It might be .com, but I think it's actually a very old website that's really not even updated anymore. That website is what spawned me into getting into ITC work.
Huh.
Yeah, because that's old school stuff. But I do like that idea as far as using that static and not having the chance of contamination, because that's the problem I have with those scanning ghost boxes.
And that's the thing. If you could pick up even if it's audio, if you could pick it up on an old TV,
That
it's
isn't getting anything.
yeah, it's not something that's broadcast. It can't be.
Right. But I do. You'll have to get on my Facebook page and look at some of my videos of and you are absolutely right. And I want to confirm that you are right in that it does open a door. Because I actually got out of it or backed away from it because it was getting out of hand.
Yeah, that's why I don't use Ouija boards. We did the typical high school stuff with Ouija
Sure.
boards. And,
Yeah.
I mean, long story is it ended up being unpleasant, and I stay away from 'em. I won't touch them.
Yeah. I would go back to it if I ever have the time. I really don't have the time. It takes a lot of time to do the research and then analyze the research and then document it in a way that other people can view it, and that takes so much time.
Yeah.
Maybe after I retire I might get back into it, I don't know. But my name, and most everybody knows my name is Michelle, and that is not it is a common name, but it's not one you hear. Especially you don't hear ghosts saying it. And I have clear recordings of them calling me by name. Clear recordings of them calling me by name. Clear recordings of them addressing people, family members that have passed, friends that have passed. And again, because here's what happened with me. Here's what happened with me. All of a sudden, it seemed like every ghost in town wanted to come to me to get help crossing over. And I am not a priest. I am not a shaman. I am not any of those things. I know enough about crossing a spirit over to be dangerous. And it really held true to and this is a theory that I had heard before, that mediums experience. Once they know you can hear them, once they know you can hear or see them,
they come running.
They tell their friends.
Yeah, it's a flood.
Yeah. And I just completely backed out of it. Completely, just almost cold turkey. Because it was like
I've started to wonder if because all these things are coming up with the other dimensions and stuff like that, and especially with like the little clockwork gnomes, and how they're saying that aliens are interdimensional beings, and I'm wondering if the ghosts aren't, if that isn't just a way to communicate with the people in that dimension, if they're all kind of the same thing or from the same place.
That's actually a thing. That's actually a theory, that our spirit, our consciousness is energy. And as you know, energy cannot be destroyed, or it can't be changed. Energy is energy eternally. Yes. And what we do is move into a different dimension. And some people I've even seen, is it the Buddhist or someone that believes that there are 7 levels to this dimension. There's all different kinds of beliefs and things. But yeah, the veil might be thinning.
Yeah.
I think that's why the paranormal, I tell you what, I still cannot believe that the paranormal sciences has not gotten the recognition in the scientific realm that it deserves to have. I still cannot believe it, and I don't know why.
I really think it's a lack of like concrete evidence, I mean, you can get all of these what would you call it, like not necessarily circumstantial, but you can, it's like you have to kind of piece everything together and get it to make sense. We don't have anything that just says, hey, this is this. It's like, this is what it's all just so much theory. Like, this is what we think. This is what we think. It's like the missing link. We don't have the one thing that puts it all together.
Yeah, I think we're close, though. I think quantum physics is kind of pushing in to that realm of proving scientifically a lot of things within the paranormal sciences.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anybody that has spent any time actually investigating the stuff and looking into it and doing it yourself, there's something there. Whatever it is, I don't know, but it is a thing. It's there. Yeah, you can make contact with things. They can make contact with you. Weird, unexplained things. Like this kind of weird thing is, it was whenever it was probably about it was when we first moved back, and I got out of the Army, and we came back up here and we got our place. We moved in, right? And we go into the living room. We're bringing in the boxes, and the ceiling fan in the living room, it had this little, like the dangly thing, whatever you call that. It had like a wood bead at the end of it, and it was kind of short. And I pulled it to turn on the fan and the light, and I just pulled it like normal. But for some reason, that thing just shot out straight back up. Like I pulled it real hard, and it sprung back up real hard. But it was like it ripped out of my hand, and it just went straight up, and the end of it was gone. All that was left was about that much of the chain with the little connector on it, and the little end of it that had the wood bead on it was gone. Couldn't find it anywhere. I didn't hear it land anywhere, nothing like that. And we lived there for 3 or 4 years or something probably. And when we're moving out, the day we're moving out, I took out the last stuff and put it in my truck and came back in and walked around to make sure I got everything. And I walked through the living room, and right underneath the ceiling fan and the carpet is that bead with the chain on it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that freaked me out because little things that happened while we lived there that made me think something was going on. But I mean, that thing didn't sit there for 4 years and nobody saw it.
In the middle of the room. Yeah.
Yeah, that literally happened exactly like that. It was gone the first day. It was there the day I left.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
I told my wife about it, and she thought I was stupid. She barely remembered me telling her that the thing ripped out of my hand.
Oh, right.
I thought that was weird. I was like, that thing like ripped out of my hand, and I don't know where it went. And she's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. And she kind of went about her business.
Yeah, which is what so many people do. They just don't even give it any thought.
Yeah.
Don't even give it. Yeah.
But that's, and I picked it up and I put it back on the ceiling fan, and I was like, I'm leaving. I was like, I'm out of here.
Wow. Did things happen while you lived there? How long did you live there?
I don't remember what item it was. So we'll say it's like the car keys, but like you would, and it happened maybe 2 or 3 times the whole time we're there. If I set something down, I would come back to get it. Maybe not even the same day, but it would be gone. And I would look for it, couldn't find it. And then one time when I walked through the room, it was right where I left it. And that happened
Crazy.
2 or 3. Yeah, it was the same. It was the same kind of a thing.
Crazy. Well, JC, it has been so fun talking to you. I don't know.
I'm glad
You need to get on our face, just the messenger. You don't have to get on Facebook, just the messenger.
I might.
And get on our messenger so you can keep up with us and everything. JC, you stay on here. I'm going to go ahead and end our live broadcast. Thanks for everybody who came by and talk to us over here in the comments. I appreciate it.
Sorry about if anybody said anything to me. I didn't see it.
Right. Okay. I will see you later.